The Starbucks International Headquarters is located in the Soto Industrial District just south of the skyscrapers of downtown. Its emblematic clock tower stands above the surrounding buildings, constantly keeping the time for everyone working down below. Above the clock are the watchful eyes of the Starbucks mermaid, a symbol that has spread out of Seattle and across the planet. Once nothing more than a cafe housed in the Pike Place Market, Starbucks is now one of the biggest corporations in the world, employing tens of thousands of workers. In 1988, the early company was bought by Howard Schultz, the architect of the Starbucks empire. Since then, it has grown every year, with stores opening up in places like Norway and India.
I feel so strongly that the reason I'm here is I dreamed big dreams. I just want to kill myself.
Over the past decade, Starbucks has come to represent the sterilization of coffee culture and the banality of corporatism. Wherever it goes, Starbucks brings the same terrible uniform and hollow environment, whether in the cafes or in the coffee fields. Capitalism depends on coffee to keep its workers awake, and getting the beans is a complicated operation. Coffee only grows between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn, and yet it is consumed by millions of people who would not otherwise have access to it. To secure this vital commodity, vast areas of the global south have been dedicated to coffee production. In places like southern Mexico and Ethiopia, the rural populations who have lost their traditional means of subsistence must now trade their time for money in order to survive. Hundreds of large-scale coffee farms employ thousands of poor workers, keeping them dependent on the money that comes from large coffee purchasers like Starbucks. By expanding its own market, Starbucks increases the number of wage slaves in the global south who can do nothing but work and sleep and sometimes live their lives.
It's Starbucks' mission to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time.
And what I have said in the last 2 years of Starbucks is there's no celebration, there's no victory lap. I just want to kill myself.
But many consumers do not know that when they enjoy coffee for themselves, they are also helping coffee farmers and protecting our environment. How? Socially, economically, and environmentally. Does it work? Just ask the farmers in Chiapas, Mexico.
Marcos, the first time you had to walk in the forest like this, were you ready for it?
No.
What happened?
I will die.
You almost died? Yeah?
It's often necessary that we also work with the government because they influence the social conditions in rural communities that don't have them. So we're quite active with the governments.
And we're talking about instilling a mentality into the culture of the organization in which people need to understand that we cannot take a breath.
Sin embargo, el otro día, regresando del trabajo, tuve una tarde muy pesada y sabía que necesitaba algo especial. Entonces pedí esta nueva bebida de café con hielo, el frappuccino de cajeta.
Hecho con nuestro nuevo caramelo superior.
Gracias. Este sabor de caramelo me hace recordar cuando era niño. Mi abuelita solía preparar una cajeta casera con leche, vainilla y azúcar, y este sabe exactamente igual al que mi abuela preparaba.
You know, when I meet people who are working at Starbucks and they tell me they love the company but they don't drink coffee, I just want to kill myself.
We are divided by continents, countries, ethnicities, political parties, languages. What if we could erase those divisions? What if we could erase those divisions? What if we all came a little closer together instead of moving a little further apart? What if for one moment this holiday season we united in one thing we all share?
While attempting to create as broad of a consumer base as possible, the corporation has crafted a green image for itself. It preys upon the desire of liberal consumers to live their lives with integrity, only to lure them into the fetishism of commodities. Purchasing bags of coffee, travel mugs, and gift certificates are equated with the power to save the world. When the consumer becomes immersed in the total Starbucks experience, they are tranquilized by the same exact void that appears in nearly 20,000 locations across the world.
If you walk into a Starbucks in Beijing, or you walk into one in Kuwait City, or you walk into one in St. Louis, the experience should be the same.
These thousands of cafes are only confessions of the unremarkable achievements of the corporation's cultural capital. The Starbucks Cafe is an experience completely shaped by its transcendent authors, where even the workers are partners in the grand act of commerce.
And so we took the word employee out, and everyone was a partner.
The employee is reminded that they fulfill an essential role for the corporation, only so that they will be discouraged from unionizing.
If you're interviewing someone at Starbucks and they tell you they're not a morning person, I think that interview should actually last about 5 seconds. I just want to kill myself.
Social harmony and the elimination of social division have become part of the mythology of the Starbucks Corporation. The employee should be grateful because they are all in it together, unified by the fantasy of building the perfect team. Every disturbance or critique in the workplace is analyzed and digested by the research and marketing wings of the corporation. The goal of Starbucks is to create a genteel and ambient environment where the ravages of capitalism can be forgotten and the commodity can reign silently over all.